who's in charge of the Democratic Party anyway?
Yeah.
Are they run by some sort of secret group that we're not seeing? That's a terrible thing to show the American people.
The calls for Joe Biden to drop out of the race for the Democratic Party nominee continue to grow louder. And it's not just people like Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian doing it now that have been calling for this for quite some time. It is now the most mainstream of mainstream media, the top of the Democratic Party establishment, and even Blue MAGA. Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur broke all this down. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
When you're told by members of Congress that they're losing, they're going to lose the House and the Senate if he stays on the ticket. When you're told by members of Congress who have seen the polls that you're losing swing states and that your numbers are going down in swing states, in states like Virginia, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Minnesota are now in play. And when your top fundraiser over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years is telling you the money's gone, the donors have all gone away, you know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing. This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out.
Well, as Joe Scarborough just acknowledged, Joe Biden is facing massive pressure to drop out of the presidential race and allow for a more competitive Democrat to run against Donald Trump. In fact, the highest ranking Democratic officials in his own party, I'm talking about Democratic leadership like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they've met with him and they have urged him to drop out. And apparently that pressure is working to some extent. There are some cracks in his defiance, if you will. So this morning, Axios reported that behind the curtain, top Dems now believe Biden will exit. There are some reports that he could exit the race as soon as Sunday, meaning this weekend. Now, thus far, Biden has not budged an inch on dropping out of the race publicly. So what he thinks privately might be completely different from the brave face he's putting on publicly. However, Axios reports that privately he's resigned to mounting pressure, bad polls, and untenable scrutiny, making it impossible to continue his campaign. An anonymous senior Democratic advisor told CNN that Biden's gone from saying Kamala can't win to, do you think Kamala can win? It's still unclear where he's going to land, but he at least seems to be listening. He's been listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
So guys, you've heard me say now that it's over for a while, and it was over after the debate. And remember, I thought that he was not the right candidate about a year ago, as you all know, but I didn't say that it was over and he was going to step down before the debate. Before the debate, the great majority of the people supporting him, not the voters.
I don't think that Rusty would be here today if it wasn't for the farmer's dog. He was always a dry kibble dog.
And this is interesting and important. I'll come back to that in 1 second. But the elite, all the politicians, all of the media, were still, and all the donors, were all still behind him. But after the debate, and when I saw the ad against Bob Casey, I said, it's definitely over. They can't withstand this, right? But now, he's got nowhere left to go. We're in the checkmate portion of the program. He's down to just the king. He doesn't even have any pawns left because Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski are by far his top defenders in the press. So that's like losing your queen. And so that's gone, that's off the board. Nancy Pelosi off the board, Adam Schiff off the board, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. Everyone's gone. He's lost all of his pieces. The donors are gone. Jeffrey Katzenberg, I mean, that's the person they're alluding to. One of the top donors for the Democrats of all time, the biggest supporter of Joe Biden within the donor community. He's saying we don't have any money left, just like I told you guys. I said that was set in motion 3 weeks ago because he would run out of donor money and there would be a revolt in Congress. And that's exactly what happened. And so.
And what's crazy about all this, and this is stuff that Cenk Uygur, I don't think he says in this actual video, but he's said a lot of times in the past, him and Anna Kasparian, they all knew that Joe Biden was too old, and they should have done something about this. I'm talking about the Democratic Party establishment, the DNC. They should have done something about this a year or two ago and said, sorry, Joe, you can't run again. You're too old. We have to get a new candidate in here, or we're going to lose badly. And that's what Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian have been saying for quite some time. You've got to get him out of there and get somebody new in there, or Trump will just steamroll him.
It's not a question. Like soon, like within minutes, we're going to switch to who should be the new nominee. Right now, Joe Biden is definitely done. If he kept going, they're going to have to humiliate him. They're going to have to do it in public more. Like it would be insanity, sheer insanity to continue, and it wouldn't work anyway. So this is when you say Joe Biden had a good run, whether you believe it or not. Thank you for your service. And wow, this is exciting. We're going to get to pick a new candidate, and we're going to have a real shot to beat Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He has literally no allies left.
And guys, I want you to consider for the rest of the country, for everyone in the country, what the two political campaigns look like, what the optics are, right? So we've been at the RNC all week. I genuinely don't believe, we'll see, right? The pro working class message, right? But at least that's the message that they're really driving home at this convention. So you have the Republican Party branding themselves as the party that's looking out for the little guy, for working class Americans. And then on the Democratic side, is there any conversation about policy right now? Of course not, because everything is wrapped up in this power struggle.
And Anna Kasparian is right with what she's saying here. What I would add here is the RNC, they had excitement. And if they go forward with Joe Biden, the Democratic Party does, Democrats, the convention for the Democrats it's going to be like a funeral. There's not going to be, they're just going to have to manufacture excitement there. So Anna Kasparian is right with what she's saying about the power struggle and everything, but also it's just the optics of if Joe Biden is the candidate, no one within the Democratic Party is going to be excited when they have their convention.
And that does not look good to the American people, especially at a time when they're struggling financially, economically due to inflation and stuff like that. And so it's just a bad look for the Democrats. The longer this drags out, the more it hurts the party in general.
Yeah, guys, there's a second huge problem with him dragging it out, which is that people are starting to ask, real average Americans. Anna and I took an Uber ride today. I know it's a cliche to tell you about taxi drivers and Uber drivers, but nevertheless, they are a good indication. And he said, well, look, he's a 26-year-old guy, doesn't follow politics that much, and said, well, who's in charge of the country? Mm-hmm. Because to the average person that doesn't follow politics, when they see Joe Biden, they think he doesn't know what he's doing. He's obviously in mental decline. Like, that's the most obvious thing in the world. They don't debate it. The debate is only because the allies of Biden force you into a debate by continuing to gaslight you, right? But in the real world, there's no debate at all. Everybody thinks Joe Biden's gone, right? So then they're wondering, so who's running the place? And so that's beginning to deteriorate faith in the government, let alone the Democratic Party. But they're also thinking like the Democratic Party seems to be kind of like a little bit questionable.
Wrapped up in their own ambition, their own political ambition, as opposed to looking out for the little guy, which is what historically the Democratic Party was thought to be, right? And so the other thing that the Uber driver mentioned, which I thought was telling, is remember, he says, I don't really follow politics that closely. I don't watch the news that much. And I do think that's actually representative of most American voters.
Definitely.
And you know what he said? He said, yeah, I'm going to vote Trump because he seems like he wants to help.
Yeah, that brother, and he admits it. He's like, I don't know any of the details, and I don't know who actually wants to help, right? He didn't say those exact words, but that was his indication. But he's like, Trump seems like he wants to help. And he hasn't heard anything from Biden or the Democrats about how they're going to help him. He said, look, rent went up by $1,000. Me and my girlfriend, we think we might not be able to afford an apartment to even rent, right? And then he interrupted our conversation when I said that Biden was bragging about how he expanded NATO, but I'm like, nobody even knows that. And he said, yeah, I don't know that. And he doesn't care.
And this is a really great point here by Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian. The Republicans are so much better at messaging. The Democrats are terrible at this. And Joe Biden has been doing this for weeks, where he talks about expanding NATO. Voters don't care about that. That's not a thing that's important to voters. The Democratic Party base wants things like, and a majority of Americans, like 65-70% of Americans, want Medicare to be expanded. Medicare is hugely popular. The Democrats never talk about that. Joe Biden never talks about that. But they don't talk about these things. Joe Biden talks about things like expanding NATO, and like Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur say here, no one cares.
Yeah.
Care about expanding NATO. The brother's trying to pay for rent. The Democrats are so out of touch. But the longer they have Joe Biden as his figurehead, the more average voters are going, who's in charge of the Democratic Party anyway?
Yeah.
Are they run by some sort of secret group that we're not seeing? That's a terrible thing to show the American people. For God's sake, let's go. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Almost certainly by Monday, he's gone. So get ready for a new nominee.
So this seems to be pretty much the conventional wisdom right now. Almost everybody is saying this, that it looks like it's imminent that Joe Biden is going to drop out. There's just too much pressure against him from all of these leaders of the Democratic Party and all of these people in the mainstream media and former presidents like Joe Biden and former presidents like Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. So it looks like he's probably going to be out soon. But do you think Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are correct in this assessment here, that it seems like the Republicans have so much more energy behind them based on their convention, and everything right now is just on the Democratic Party side wondering what's going to happen with Joe Biden and who their new nominee is going to be? So what do you think? Are Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian right, or do you disagree with them? Or do you disagree with them on this? Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. That helps me to grow the channel. Share your comments. I love getting those, and I'll see you in the next video.